Hi, I'm Phyllis, southernfrugal.com. Well, we've finally gotten around to making the almond cookies. Now, this is a recipe that was on the back of Daily Chef whole almonds that I got. I think I got them from Sam's Club. I'm not sure. I might have gotten them from Aldi. I just can't remember. But anyway, I'm going to kind of alter that recipe a little bit, y'all, because it doesn't quite look right to me. In other words, it doesn't call for any salt, and we're putting 3 1/4 cups of flour in the cookies and no salt. I don't think so. So we're going to alter it a little bit. All right, so we have got 1 cup of butter. That would be 2 sticks. Let me move y'all closer. That would be 2 sticks of butter, and we've got them at room temperature, and they've kind of softened a little bit. And we're going to use 1 1/4 cups. I'm using light brown sugar, 1 1/4 cups, 1 1/4 cups of regular sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in now. And I am going to use my little hand mixer. So we'll just put this in just a second and get that kind of mashed up a little bit. Okay, that's going to be good enough. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in a little vanilla extract. The recipe also did not call for this. Maybe a teaspoon. Just dribble it in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in. And we'll go ahead and put 2 eggs in. Now I'm going to mix this up. We'll be right back. Alright, we've got this all kind of mixed up now and gotten it creamed, and that took about maybe 2 minutes to get it all mixed up. And so now we're going to add 3 1/2 cups of flour, which seems like a lot to me, but we're going to go ahead and do it. And I'm just going to mix that in with a spatula. Yeah, sometimes on recipes like that you get out of magazines and all, they're not really tested out. And so you kind of have to use your own judgment on that. This also seems like 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Seems like a lot of flour to me, but I'm not sure. Just mix it all in. All right. Now, the recipe called for chopped almonds, and I am using almond slices. And the recipe called for 1 cup of chopped almonds, and I'm using 2 cups of almond slices. Alright, that's probably mixed up good enough now. If you still see some flour, that's okay too. Alright, so I'm using 2 cups of sliced almonds right in there. Now I liked the brown sugar, and I certainly like the butter in cookies. That's why I decided to try this, but I did have to alter it. Alright, I'm going to get this thoroughly mixed and we'll be right back. Alright, I forgot an ingredient that I definitely need, and that's 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm just going to sprinkle that around. And also, the recipe called for 1 tablespoon of honey. I'm going to have to use Karo syrup because I don't have any honey. So we'll just jump that in. It looks like about a tablespoon to me. Now we're just going to mix this all around. Now, The oven is preheating at 350 degrees. Now, most of the time, cookies cook at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes. So, I don't know, just do what they say, I guess, on that. Get this all mixed in there good. And so we're going to put it down on parchment paper on the cookie sheet at use about a tablespoon. Now the directions said form a round ball, but I don't think you can form a ball with this unless you chilled it. And we might have to do that. I don't know. Okay, we're ready to put these on the cookie sheets now, and we're going to find out. So I'm just going to cook one sheet of cookies to start with and make sure everything is okay before I proceed. So I'm just going to use about a tablespoon on there, kind of like you would chocolate chip cookies, because the batter seems similar to me. Put them about 3 inches apart. I don't know. That one down there. One more. So this is really nothing new. I alter almost every recipe I've ever tried anyway. So we're going to cook these, and we'll be back in, I don't know, probably give me about 15 minutes, because I don't know how these are going to cook. So we'll be back. Alright, here are the cookies, and I have to tell you, I had to turn the oven up to 375, and I can tell you that these are going to be just like chocolate chip cookies, Toll House chocolate chip cookies. So I've got the batter in the refrigerator right now, and I'm going to cook the next batch at 375. Anyway, we're going to let them sit here on the cookie sheet for just a couple of minutes, just like we would Toll House, and we'll be back. Alright, we are back. The cookies have cooled. They are pretty good, yeah. They're good. They're like Toll House chocolate chip cookies. That's what they're like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cook the rest of them. I am chilling my dough because I think they'll work out a lot better that way. But they're crispy on the outside and kind of gooey on the inside, which is good. I love cookies that way. See how thin that is? And the recipe called for using almonds, whole almonds, and wait a minute. Okay, the recipe called for 1 cup of whole almonds that you chop up yourself, and I do like these better with the almond slices, I'm sure. I haven't tried them the other way, but I feel sure I like them better this way. Also, you got to have some salt, y'all. I put a half a teaspoon in. I could have even used a little more, but anyway, I'll leave the recipe down below, my version, okay? And you do need to cook them at 375 degrees, not 350 degrees. And I did look in the freezer. I've got another bag of these whole almonds, and along with that bag of the almond slices, and they both came from Sam's Club. So, Daily Chef, there was a recipe, and it definitely needed to be altered. And I also think it definitely needed the vanilla flavoring too. So I'm going to put my version of the recipe down below, and cooking it at 350 degrees, you'd have to cook it 20 minutes, y'all, or more. So I think it should be 375, and 10 to 15 minutes would be more appropriate. Alright, y'all, so I'll leave the recipe down below, and we will see y'all next time Mr. Bucky's going to love these, I can tell you, because he loves the Toll House cookies, and that's what this looks like. It looks just like a Toll House cookie. It's going to be crispy on the outside and kind of chewy on the inside. All right, because I would find it difficult to eat almonds that are just broken in pieces, you know. I guess you'd have to do that in your food processor, but you'd be chewing a lot with that kind. These are chewy, but the almond slices, you can see one right there, are real thin, and so they're easier to chew. All right, y'all, we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.